My fiancé dumped me because his ex faked a coma. His mother yelled, "Stay single if you don't respect love." So I disappeared without a word. Recently they found me standing speechless outside a grand Venice cathedral, where I was walking down the aisle, marrying his ex's younger millionaire brother who worshipped me. Stay single if you don't respect love. Natalie's voice echoed through the empty restaurant, her words slicing through me like the chef's knife I'd wielded for years. But it wasn't directed at me. It was aimed at her son, my ex-fiancé, who stood with his head bowed, unable to meet anyone's eyes after what he'd done. My hands trembled as I gripped the edge of the stainless steel prep table, the same table where Caleb had first kissed me 2 years ago. The kitchen of Harvest and Hearth, once my sanctuary, now felt like a tomb for my buried dreams. Just 3 hours earlier, I had been executive chef Aria Mitchell, respected culinary artist and future wife to the owner's son. Now I was just Aria, abandoned, humiliated and burning with a quiet rage that threatened to consume me. "I never meant to hurt you, Aria," Caleb whispered, his voice barely audible over the hum of refrigerators. "Penelope needs me. Her condition. Her condition is a lie," I said flatly, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded despite the hurricane raging inside me. "But your feelings for her aren't, are they? They never were." If this story of heartbreak and unexpected revenge resonates with you, hit subscribe to join our community. It's free and you'll never miss another journey of someone rising from betrayal to find their own justice. Now let's see how Aria's world came crashing down. The truth had been hiding in plain sight, like a bitter ingredient in an otherwise perfect dish. All those late-night texts he'd try to hide. The way he'd grow distant whenever her name came up in conversation. I had ignored the signs, too busy perfecting my béarnaise sauce and planning our forever. When I first started at Harvest and Hearth 5 years ago, I was nobody, just another line cook with big dreams and student loans. Joel Harrington took a chance on me when no other upscale restaurant would. I worked my way up, impressing him with my work ethic and innovative take on classic American cuisine. My maple-glazed duck with cherry reduction became the restaurant's signature dish, written up in food magazines and bringing in diners from 3 states away. "Your hands speak truth through food," Joel once told me, his eyes crinkling with pride. "That's rare, Aria. Most chefs cook with their ego. You cook with your soul." When Caleb started hanging around the kitchen more, I assumed he was there on his father's orders, learning the business he would one day inherit. I didn't realize he was watching me, fascinated by my dedication. Our romance bloomed slowly, coffee after closing, walks by the river discussing menu ideas, and finally, a kiss that tasted like the raspberry sorbet I'd been experimenting with. "You're different," he told me. After Penelope, I didn't think I'd feel this way again. Penelope Kingston. The name that would eventually destroy everything. His college sweetheart, the society girl whose family vacationed with senators. She'd broken his heart 3 years before I met him, leaving him for a finance guy in Chicago. I never worried about her, she was ancient history, or so I thought. Joel had embraced our relationship with unexpected enthusiasm. "You've got something special, Aria," he'd said one evening after service, placing a fatherly hand on my shoulder. "You remind me of myself at your age, hungry for perfection, never satisfied with good enough. Caleb needs someone like you." When Caleb proposed in the herb garden behind the restaurant, Joel was the first to celebrate, opening a bottle of Dom Perignon he'd been saving for a special occasion. "To my future daughter," he toasted, his eyes misty. The daughter I never had but always wanted. The wedding planning consumed my free time. Joel insisted on hosting the reception at the restaurant, closing it for a full weekend, something he'd never done before. "Nothing but the best for my kids," he'd beamed. I had designed a 9-course tasting menu that told our love story through food. The invitations had gone out just last week. Then Penelope came back to town. "Just catching up with an old friend," Caleb had assured me when I found out they'd met for coffee. I believed him because that's what trust is supposed to be. One coffee turned into texting, which turned into lunch. I was too busy finalizing wedding details and running the kitchen to notice how his eyes lit up when his phone buzzed. 3 days ago, Caleb rushed out of the restaurant mid-service. "Emergency," he'd mumbled, not meeting my eyes. "Penelope's in the hospital. Collapsed suddenly. They don't know if she'll wake up." I gave him space, covered his responsibilities at the restaurant and waited for updates. When he didn't come home at the restaurant and waited for updates. When he didn't come home that night, I told myself he was being a good friend. When he didn't come home the second night, worry crept in like smoke under a door. This morning, I overheard Natalie on the phone in Joel's office. What do you mean Penelope's doctor hasn't authorized any visitors? Caleb's been with her for 2 days. The pots and pans I'd been organizing clattered to the floor. That's when I knew. Now, standing in the kitchen where I had built my career and my relationship, I watched it all crumble. I still love her, Arya, Caleb admitted, finally looking up. His eyes were red-rimmed but determined. I tried to move on with you and you're amazing, you truly are. But when I heard she collapsed, that she might die, I realized I never stopped loving her. Joel burst through the swinging doors, his normally composed demeanor shattered. She's not in a coma, you fool. I just got off the phone with Dr. Ramirez. Penelope Kingston hasn't been admitted to any hospital in the tri-state area. The look on Caleb's face told me everything. Shock, then guilt, then the slow dawn of realization that he'd been manipulated, but had also willingly participated in the deception. You threw away everything for a lie, Joel continued, his voice breaking. You broke the heart of the best woman you'll ever know. For what? A manipulative game. That's when Natalie stepped forward, her elegant frame vibrating with fury as she delivered the line that would echo in my nightmares for months. Stay single if you don't respect love. As the family drama unfolded before me, something inside me shut down. I slowly untied my chef's apron, the same one Caleb had given me on our first anniversary with Chef Arya Harrington, embroidered on it in anticipation of our marriage. I folded it carefully, placed it on the counter and walked out the back door without a word. The evening air hit my face, cool and indifferent to my pain. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Instead, I felt something hardening inside me, a resolve crystallizing from the molten ruins of my shattered dreams. They wouldn't see me break. They wouldn't see me beg. And soon they wouldn't see me at all. I walked aimlessly through the darkening streets, the restaurant growing smaller behind me. My apartment wasn't home anymore. It was filled with Caleb's things, our shared dreams, wedding catalogs. I checked into a modest hotel downtown, paid cash, and collapsed onto the bed, still wearing my chef's pants and t-shirt that smelled of rosemary and betrayal. Meanwhile, across town, Joel Harrington was about to uncover the full extent of his son's deception. Joel had always prided himself on his connections. In a town like ours, relationships were currency, and Joel had built his restaurant empire on knowing the right people. Dr. Marcus Ramirez happened to be one of those people. The chief of neurology at Memorial Hospital and a regular at Harvest and Hearth for Tuesday night dinners. Joel, I'm telling you, we have no patient by that name, Dr. Ramirez insisted over the phone. I've checked with every hospital in the area. Nobody has admitted a Penelope Kingston for any condition, let alone a coma. Joel's grip tightened on his oak desk, the same desk where he drafted the menu for his first restaurant 30 years ago. Marcus, are you absolutely certain? I've been practicing medicine for 25 years, Joel. I think I know how to check hospital records. After hanging up, Joel sat in silence, the weight of what this meant sinking into his bones. His son, his only son, had thrown away a relationship with an exceptional woman for a lie. Or worse, had been complicit in that lie. The morning after I left, Joel called an emergency family meeting at his home. The tension in the living room was thick enough to cut with a knife as Caleb, Natalie, and Kennedy gathered, unaware of the storm about to break. Dad, what's this about? Kennedy asked, tucking her legs underneath her on the leather sofa. At 28, Kennedy was the practical one, the business major who helped manage the restaurant's finances while her brother charmed the guests. Joel didn't answer immediately. He poured himself 2 fingers of scotch despite it being only 10 a.m. Caleb, I want you to tell me again about Penelope's condition. Caleb shifted uncomfortably. She's stable but still unresponsive. The doctors aren't sure when she'll wake up. At which hospital? Memorial. Why are you? That's interesting, Joel interrupted, swirling his scotch, because I spoke with Dr. Ramirez last night. He assures me that not only is Penelope Kingston not a patient at Memorial, but she hasn't been admitted to any hospital in the tri-state area. The color drained from Caleb's face. Kennedy gasped softly. Would you care to explain why you've destroyed your engagement to an extraordinary woman over a fabricated medical emergency? It's not what you think, Caleb stammered. Then what is it? Natalie interjected, her voice dangerously calm. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've either been duped like a fool or you're lying to all of us. The truth spilled out in fragments. Penelope had returned to town claiming she'd made a terrible mistake leaving him. When Caleb didn't immediately fall back into her arms, she orchestrated the fake emergency. Yes, Caleb had realized the truth within hours of rushing to her side, but by then old feelings had resurfaced. They'd spent those 2 days in her lake house, rekindling what they'd once had. And Arya? Joel demanded. Did you spare even a thought for her while you were rekindling? Caleb had the decency to look ashamed. I didn't plan